My beloved child, stop everything and listen. This isn't just another message, it's your divine interruption. I see the weight you've carried in silence, the love you've given without return, the strength you've shown while breaking inside. And now I am speaking, not just to comfort you, but to awaken you. What I reveal in this video will shift how you see yourself, how you love, and who you allow near your heart. Don't miss a single word. Stay until the end, because there's a moment coming that will expose the lie, confirm the truth, and unlock the healing you didn't know you needed. Watch closely, because this time I'm not just reminding you who you are, I'm restoring you to it. Yet those you trusted, those who once named you friend, confidant, or even spiritual kin, failed to perceive the treasure before them. They missed the truth that they confronted a soul forged in the furnace of trials, purified by private tears, and emboldened over years of quiet steadfastness. Rather than honoring the radiance I placed within you, they peered upon it with self-serving eyes. They did not notice the bravery hidden behind your tenderness, nor the subtle vigor you carried for the sake of mercy. They misread your benevolence as an endless well to drain, your love as something exploitable through the manipulation of emotions camouflaged as closeness or empathy, meant to keep you bound, not through genuineness, but through cunning. Yet, my child, the light I endowed is never meant to be approached frivolously or accessed without awe. There exist those who do not realize they address one set apart by my hand. Some believe they can handle your heart with impunity. They fail to see that in reaching for you, they are not merely handling a fragile mortal, but tampering with a sacred strand interwoven into my higher plan on earth. They are unaware that every tear you have spilled has a holy significance, recorded by angelic beings, and that each hurt you have carried in silence has never lacked purpose, but accumulates in heaven like sweet incense, awaiting an appointed time of divine vindication. You have no need to clamor for justice. You need not unravel facts or beg for anyone to grasp your worth or sincerity. For I, who behold every unseen matter, will speak on your behalf. I will move where you are unable. I will uphold your value, not merely through statements, but through actions generated in heaven's courtrooms. Then, one day, they shall see, far too late, that they once stood before a jewel they never chose to revere. You are not fragile for loving with authenticity. You are not gullible for believing in others. It was their error to presume a guileless heart is readily swayed. Their misconception lay in equating patience with weakness. But, my child, compassion prevented you from responding in kind. The Holy Spirit supported your composure despite every entitlement you had to roar in anger. Wisdom that descends from above urged you to leave quietly, rather than remain and be consumed at your core. Now, as I lift the veil from your eyes to grant clearer vision, I am simultaneously carving a new route for you. A path where you will no longer have to compromise your own spirit merely to protect a bond. I will cleanse your surroundings. Individuals lurking near you with selfish motives will face illumination. Words marred by duplicity will topple. Facades concealed by spiritual rhetoric will be unmasked through my work. For I refuse to keep you confined in an unhealthy place solely because of your loyalty. Grieve not over what I remove from your hold. Shed no tears for those who disregarded the significance of your heart. They can no longer continue at your side. Not because you are lacking, but because purity within you no longer harmonizes with the dishonesty residing in them. Their absence does not confirm your insufficiency, but illustrates your growth, your wisdom, your sharpened sensitivity to my counsel above theirs. You are no longer pulled in by hollow pledges, fleeting passions, or consuming attachments masquerading as love. Release whatever I take away, for I never subtract without a plan to replenish. I will send to you companions who discern the sanctity within you, who honor my light in you without preying on it, who practice love through reverence rather than constraint. Here begins your transition. This is the unveiling of a phase where love will never demand you forfeit your peace and closeness will never compel you to forsake your calling. I have witnessed everything. I am not silent, neither am I slow. My upcoming intervention will not merely mend your soul, but confirm who you genuinely are. From this moment, you will tread the path of wisdom in the light. No longer will you entrust your heart to anyone, simply because they can charm you with pleasing words. You will refrain from placing your faith in individuals who cannot endure fiery trials alongside you. No more will your kindness be turned into an open wound. Instead, you will discover patience, the art of waiting for that which truly comes from me, for the proper person, the right moment, and the divine connection I have ordained. You will grasp that your presence holds tremendous value, that not everyone merits the right to share in it. And as you rediscover how to love, not from fear of abandonment, but with the discernment of a soul thoroughly refined, I will restore every loss. I will rebuild from the remains they attempted to destroy. I will stitch together the deep lacerations inflicted upon your spirit by their words. I will bestow a calmness that springs from heavenly assurance, confirming you are beloved, not through perpetual flawlessness, but because you abide in me. Raise your gaze, my cherished one. Separate yourself from those who never acknowledged your value. They will not proceed onward with you, less from your wrongdoing, more because they are now too stained to walk beside the brightness I am leading you into. Your destiny was to bear light, never to be snuffed out. And I, the Just One, will safeguard this light through heaven's mighty decree. All who approach you in deceit will encounter truth. Anyone who mistreated your heart will behold how I elevate you beyond anything they ever envisioned. My precious love, certain revelations might cut deeply, yet they serve not to wound you, but to wake you from the long slumber of unspoken endurance. I did not form you to be manipulated. I never imparted my spirit's fire within you to be dimmed or exploited for someone else's agenda. You were never designed to put up with ambiguous relationships where your essence fades into someone else's ego. You were not meant to be a short-lived sanctuary for those who arrive in times of crisis, but depart as soon as they recover, never intent on cherishing you with genuine devotion. I shaped you with the poise of one anointed, one who carries a taste of heaven itself, one who heals not so much by speech, but by mere presence. Because your heart is so rare, people have become accustomed to drawing near only to take. They never acquired the skill of giving in return. They claim you are essential, calling upon you whenever they are tired, perplexed, or aimless. But when it is you who need someone to stay, when loneliness overwhelms you, when anguish silently weighs down your heart, they leave as though your worth surfaces solely when it suits them. They grasp your hand, but it remains cold, engaged not from love, but because they appreciate having something to lean upon. They remain close, not in recognition of your beauty, but because they have grown reliant on your patience, your openness, and your steady compassion, never once being asked to reciprocate. So I pose this question: how often have you felt like a well where others draw freely, yet no one pours anything back? How many nights have you listened to their troubles, buoyed them with your compassion, caught their tears, only to later weep alone? How frequently have you reassured yourself that if you could just love them sufficiently, they would finally grow? My child, I see every bit of it, and I want you to realize I never intended you to live that way. I did not entrust my spirit to you, so you would languish in obscurity, depleted by others' emptiness. I did not fill you with light so others could exploit it, leaving you utterly drained and alienated. The love I placed in you was never a blind devotion, endlessly enduring unrelenting suffering. It was a valiant love, a love illuminated by divine insight, one that knows when to give and when to part quietly from a place unworthy of you. I am revealing the truth to you. These individuals, though they insist they care, genuinely only adore how you make them feel. They appreciate the security you offer, the gentle way you calm their anxieties. However, they do not sincerely love you. They do not value your depths, your concealed fatigue, or the silent cries of your soul they do not wish to hear. Since they fail to see the real you, they cannot treasure you as you merit. You are no mere stopover for wanderers. You are never intended as a fleeting place of repair for those who never plan to remain. You are a flame that I have preserved with the wind of my spirit, a dwelling fashioned from prayers and tears. You are neither invisible nor a marginal detail in someone else's story. You stand as the primary figure in the divine tale I composed for you before time existed. If another fails to glimpse your light, it is not because your light is absent, but because their sight is lost in the darkness. When someone belittles your heart, it is not for lack of worth in your heart, but for lack of depth in them to discern its richness. And if a person persists in keeping you nearby only to sap your vitality with no intention of replenishment, that setting was never where you belonged. My beloved child, the hour has come for me to set you apart, not in abandonment, but in defense of your most sacred core from hands unfit to touch it. I am guiding you into a fresh season, a context where love is not mere rhetoric, but active proof, where connection is not chains of emotional fatigue, but a realm that uplifts, encourages, grasps, and cherishes you without conceit. Dearest heart, within life's journey, some will appear not as genuine companions, but as predators disguised by fondness. They arrive not to edify, but to claim, not to grow with you, but to siphon from the loveliest places within you. Your perseverance, your faith, and the pure devotion you have faithfully cultivated. They demand without asking. They drain without seeking. They do not truly love you, yet they invoke love in order to manipulate your heart as if it were malleable and disposable. I watch every step in the drama they have staged. I observed how they utilize familiar glimpses to draw you in, how they speak comforting words to ease your wounds, how their manner mimics love, yet actually serves as a means to keep you locked under their control. They care nothing about your fatigue or your hidden tears, nor do they notice the hush of your breaking spirit. All that concerns them is that you continue giving, persist in enduring, and keep filling their emptiness, never seeking any replenishment. Then, once you become exhausted, once your smile ceases to be unforced, once the spark in your eyes starts to recede, they never pause to inquire why. They merely lament that you are not the same as before. They are blind to their role in depleting you. They cannot acknowledge your quiet is born not of hollowness, but of the fatigue that comes from repeatedly talking without being genuinely heeded. Every instance of pardon on your part was never because the wound was trivial, but because you trusted that love possesses the power to transform. But my child, I want you to comprehend. Love was never intended to be an unequal sacrifice that steadily erodes your identity behind silent tolerance. Various labels masquerade as love, but in actuality they represent mere possession. They wanted you to stay, not out of irreplaceability, but because you were singularly willing to endure. They bestowed upon you admirable words, gentle, empathetic, considerate. But in fact, those compliments served as polished ornaments for invisible chains they fastened around you. Such a relationship is a snare, compelling you always to try harder in order to keep that person from walking away. You have lived under the unending dread that if you were not endlessly tolerant, pleasing enough, or yielding, they would be gone. That is not love. That is subjugation. That is spiritual bondage. They convinced you that truly loving someone meant relinquishing every part of yourself. They made you forget that genuine love never demands self-negation. True love does not relegate you to a mere silhouette. It does not coerce you into concealing your actual feelings. It never commands your heart to remain silent for the sake of tranquility. Authentic love neither creates ceaseless mental tiredness, nor leaves you unsure of your own adequacy or place. It saddens me when you overlook the loveliness I placed in you, the tender strength, the loyal spirit, the selfless kindness. It wounds me to watch you move in circles in a vortex of emotions directed by someone else's whims, futilely trying to demonstrate your worthiness, when from the start, you have always been infinitely precious to me. My child, never label it love if it chokes you. Avoid holding on to someone simply because they have mastered the art of diminishing you through familiar displays. Resist letting routine counteract the holy safety I have prepared for you. Some traps are not forged from visible constraints but by small, subtle acts. A precisely timed embrace, an apology laced with tears, a pledge to change that you have heard time after time. That is not genuine love. It is emotional manipulation, the enemy's method of trapping you in a loop that prevents the divine journey I have laid out for your life. In this moment, I am shattering those restraints, not by rage, but through a blazing beam of truth. I will not stand by while you remain bound by ties that sap your soul. I refuse to allow you to keep placing yourself in a position of constant giving for those who hold no intention of valuing you. My summons is for you to ascend, not to wage battle against them, but to step away from that seemingly gentle prison on legs powered by my spirit. You were never intended for a style of love that breaks you into fragments. You were fashioned to be loved as I love you, holy, free of pressure, bereft of manipulation, without terms. You deserve a love that nurtures you, a love that encourages genuine smiles rather than forcing you to stifle tears. You deserve a bond in which your voice resounds, your heart is valued, and your spirit is nourished, never depleted. I am aware that taking this step away will be painful. I know you have grown familiar with their arms, even if the affection was superficial. You have adapted to their presence, although it was never complete. But be assured of this. Past the heartbreak, there will be renewal. Beyond this void, an era of grace shall blossom. Past the ache of release lies the solace of liberty for your soul. Thus, place your trust in me. Let me lead you from unfit hands so you can rediscover loving yourself through my perspective. Allow me to situate you in refuge, where your heart is not exploited but rebuilt. For authentic love, originating with me, does not sap you dry, but causes you to bloom greater than ever. And that love stands waiting for you, just across the threshold of your choice to relinquish the old. My beloved, the time is here. You need not delay one more moment for someone to be roused enough to acknowledge the jewel they have disregarded. You have endured too many nights awake in tears, longing for a heartfelt apology, a thankful look, or simply a sign that you also matter, that you deserve defense instead of forever being the one who stays. You have poured love abundantly. You lingered, praying that love could shift them, that one day they might look back and truly recognize your value. But, dearest soul, indeed have seen the entirety. Even while they never fully saw you, even when they merely used you to fill their hollowness, I noticed. I observed every occasion you humbled yourself, every instant you kept quiet for the sake of harmony, every time you bundled your sorrow like a well-worn letter and buried it deep so no one else would see. I recorded the times you pushed yourself to love them beyond your own capacity, only to meet their apathy or egocentrism. But I now declare, it is enough. You need not remain where your spirit goes unappreciated. You can cease holding open the entrance that others cross whenever they want something, only to depart without a glance. They were offered ample chances for growth, transformation, and empathy. Yet, they persisted in exploiting your kindness, presuming entitlement to your warmth. They chose the convenient path over honesty. They clung to you not from devotion, but out of fear of losing a person who endlessly forgives. And I, who cherish you with an unfailing love, cannot simply stand idle and witness you cycle endlessly in a facade of affection. I cannot allow someone I cherish so profoundly to languish in an unequal relationship. Therefore, on this day I urge you, walk away, not enveloped by rancor or vengefulness, but in the clarity of a spirit awakened by truth. I am not asking you to harbor hatred, but I also refuse to let you remain soft in an unworthy setting. I am not commanding you to despise them, yet I must insist you cease reinforcing falsehood. You are called to love, but a love that perceives, a love guided by the Holy Spirit, rather than confounded by someone's inconsistent heart. You once believed they would understand eventually. However, I have always recognized in you what you yearned for them to see. I am fully aware you have a tender heart. I know the authenticity of your love, the sincerity of your compassion, and the depth of your forgiveness. But dear child, genuine love does not confine you to an everlasting weight. Forgiveness is not an approval of recurring injuries. Faithfulness does not imply marching aimlessly down a road void of hope. Now I present you with the choice to seal that door, that threshold they use so frequently, as if you were a dwelling they had the liberty to occupy at their whim. I invite you to dispel the remnants of unmet hopes. Dispel the recollections haunting your nights. Dispel the erroneous convictions so that you can create room for something new, a love truly breathed by me. The love I have readied for you does not aim to claim you, but to release you. It is not a love that has you fearful of losing yourself, but one that lets you rediscover your identity, secure, unwavering, and complete. That love extends no arms to confine you, but arms wide to receive you. It does not seduce you with promising words only to vanish, but paces with you, defends you, and sustains you day in and day out. But to grasp the promise of newness, you must first be bold enough to surrender what is dated. Before you can embrace a chapter of healthy love, you must step away from any place where you were kept out of mere familiarity. I realize it will not be simple. I am aware that certain attachments have dug deep roots in your soul. But as long as your grip remains on what no longer gives life, your arms cannot hold the gifts I intend for you. So today, I speak with heaven's compassion and might. You have lingered long enough. You have attempted enough. It is time to move forward, not as someone defeated, but as one victorious for discerning reality from illusion. Walk on in my peace. Advance knowing you are not choosing darkness over light, but rather leaving the shadows for the radiance. Venturing where love is not requested, but rightfully yours. My beloved, it is your moment to stop sowing hope in a field never willing to nurture it. The time has arrived to stop cultivating a garden that others simply traipse through, stomping down the blossoms with apathy, then departing as if none of it ever mattered. I did not call you to anchor your life in a space defined by dullness, strain, and extended sorrow. I never intended you to remain in a loop of anticipation and heartbreak, of giving and being deserted. I do not wish you to persist in waiting for someone to snap awake someday and begin treating you properly, especially not those who repeatedly show they cannot recognize your true worth. Every time you blind yourself to what is real, every time you excuse their emotional distance, every time you pacify yourself with unsaid words they never spoke, you drift further from the truth I am disclosing to you, child of mine. Certain revelations exist without needing any explanation, because behavior has made things unmistakably clear. When a person methodically chooses silence precisely when you require them most, it is not because of a busy schedule, but an indifferent heart. When someone constantly finds reasons not to be there for your pivotal milestones, it is not inability, but a refusal to prioritize you. If a person treats you as peripheral, it is not about ignorance of love, but a recognition that they do not regard you as worthy of genuine affection. So, beloved, let there be no illusions spun from longing. Cease using hope to blot out the actual circumstances. Do not vindicate someone's neglect by concluding they are simply damaged or that eventually they will improve. Your calling is not to rescue the source of your wounds. You are not created as an emotional pit stop for souls disillusioned with life. You are not the fallback plan whenever all else collapses. You were made in my image. with an essence that outshines every earthly identity, with a capacity for profound love, yet equally deserving of being loved correctly in return. I have observed the countless hours you silently sat, awaiting a note, a call, a sign of genuine thoughtfulness. I have watched the glow in your gaze fade after each wave of optimism yielded only emptiness. I have been present for the prayers you have whispered, sometimes wordless, sometimes as muffled sobs buried in your heart. You tried to make it work, but I never intended for you to exist in a one-sided arrangement or be ensnared in an affair so inequitable that you keep giving while the other party remains uninterested, as though your emotions carry no weight. I wish you to trust this certain reality. When someone's actions show they do not value you, do not spend your energy trying to convince them otherwise. When someone scorns the purity in your soul, resist waiting on their evolution, only to be bruised once more. You must learn to rely on the truth they exhibit. Abandon the fantasies of what they might become. Although it might hurt, the truth will indeed free you. Pleasant illusions, no matter how enticing, merely hold you captive, slowly draining your light. I never made you to slip into another's background. You are no short-term shelter for those fleeing emotional storms, but then leaving you behind once they glimpse sunnier skies. You are not a transient safe house. You are the vessel of life itself, the Holy Spirit's temple, one I appointed to carry authentic love into this realm. You are meant to radiate, not to be concealed. You were designed to blossom, not to perish in perpetual hoping. I formed you to love and also to receive sincere, unconditional love. Cease looking back at that sealed door, questioning if something invaluable remained inside. Let go of those who elected not to stay. Had they truly belonged with you, they would never have spurred you to question if they cared. If they genuinely cared, they would not allow you to drift off each night lonely. If they actually grasped your worth, they would have cherished you rather than inflicted more pain. My child, in letting go, I will ensure you do not tumble. In embracing reality, I will gift you tranquility, surpassing comprehension. And by clearing the clutter from your heart, those parts that do not belong, I will pour into that space a love from heaven itself, a love that does not require you to change, but instead embraces you exactly as I crafted you to be. Do not mourn connections that persist out of mere routine. Do not cling to individuals who only ever take. If a situation saps your joy, leaves you desolate, or wears you down, do not call it love. You are worthy of a relationship that brightens your grin, where your hand is held through both easy days and the darkest nights. You deserve to be chosen from the start, not as some final option. You deserve devotion, not driven by distress, but by a recognition of your uniqueness. You merit a bond, not born of needing your solace, but of truly prizing you across every season. Lift your perspective, child. Never lessen yourself just to occupy shapes others have carved with limited vision. I did not make you to cower at the thought of rejection. I did not breathe life into you so you would devote it to appeasing hearts that cannot love fully. Recall that indeed I, formed you with my own breath, my hands scarred by nails, and a love beyond any scale of this world. And when I formed you, I created no mistake. I did not craft in you a brittle essence, but a strong spirit marked by honesty, compassion, and brightness, potent enough to dispel the deepest night. You no longer need another sign to prove you are mine. Every time you sobbed in the quiet, each hymn you raised in isolation, each teardrop you blinked away, I registered them all, treasured them, and held them. You have recognized my voice repeatedly. You have sensed the truth at the core of your being. The clarity I granted is not some sporadic flash, but a sustained gleam, sufficient to lead your steps through the darkest corridor. Why then do you still question yourself? Why yield your worth to the judgment of those who do not perceive the blessed breath I placed inside you? Look in the mirror, no longer through physical eyes, but through spiritual vision. See yourself as I do, Not warped, not broken, not needing correction, but intact, chosen, and divinely called. You are never burdensome, never excessive, never out of place in this world. You embody a heavenly reminder that depth, empathy, and genuineness endure among humanity. And if anyone finds you too much, it simply indicates they have never been taught to embrace a heart so notably shaped by God's own hand. Therefore, do not betray the longings of your heart just to stay in circles where your value is not affirmed. Never compress yourself for passageways I never intended for you. Let this day mark the final moment you say yes. While your soul cries no, transform this juncture into the sacred pivot bringing you home. Not to a mask designed for crowd-pleasing, but to the truth of your identity, to the individual I fashioned. Tender without hiding, robust without imitating, and fearless because you grasp who you are in me. You need not change to be loved. You do not have to shrink any part of yourself to earn acceptance. Any who refuse to love you in your wholeness do not deserve a single beat of your heart. You are not required to squander the precious time I have granted in relationships, demanding you renounce your truest self. I have not assigned you to bend inward, but to rise tall in that divine glow I ignited within you. You were made for a life of strength, not to dominate others, but to stand liberated within yourself, free from competitive urge, free from shame, free from the constant strain of presenting yourself as okay. You are free to love boldly, and likewise free to disengage when that love is not equitably mirrored. That is the power of a soul touched by the Spirit, unsusceptible to public clamor, unyielding to manipulation by inconsistency, and untouched by sweet illusions. You needn't petition for acceptance in this world. You must never apologize for your capacity to feel deeply, love wholeheartedly, or grieve openly. These are not weakness indicators, but signs of a heart intimately acquainted with me. And because you have encountered my presence, you can never pretend in places where I am unwelcome. Remain steadfast in loyalty, not to human persuasion, but to the internal voice, the Spirit's guidance, and the path I established for you long before you were born. If ever you are forced to choose between holding someone close or abandoning your identity, let them go. If forced to pick between silent compliance or truth that upholds your soul, speak out, even if it makes you tremble. In that trembling, heavens will shudder. In that honesty, shadows will recoil. And in returning to the essence of who you are, I will birth something new, an era, a fellowship, and a love that does not ask you to dim or dilute your being. My child, this is not merely a note. It is confirmation, a decree, a heavenly pronouncement echoing above, calling you to truth, to brightness, and to the authenticity of your being. When you return, solitude will vanish. I will bring individuals into your sphere who will see you for who you are, not because they intend to exploit you, but because they honor who you are in me. I will gather companions who offer a listening ear devoid of judgment, who love without any controlling motive, who lift you up absent of deceit. From that foundation you shall not only recuperate, you shall be reborn. Rise, my child. Walk with a boldness rooted not in mortals' praise, but in the certainty of who has named you. I have appointed you in love, in authority, in divine lucidity. Walk into that destiny and do not glance back at the place where you surrendered your essence just so someone might keep you. You are not excessive, you are chosen. My child, cease diminishing the most priceless aspects of your nature, your honesty, your genuineness, your capacity for boundless love. These traits are not pitfalls, as some might have claimed, but gifts I personally instilled in you, like a bubbling spring in an arid land, like a ray of light daring to pierce the thick clouds human society has piled up. You were never shaped to close yourself off, to become abrasive, or to dim your radiance only because others lack the depth to truly cherish it. Your openness is no defect. It simply proves your heart remains alive in a world chilled by apathy and calculations. So do not entrust that treasure to hands that cannot cradle it. Avoid opening your heart to those who love its heat temporarily, leaving you shivering once the novelty fades. You are under no obligation to defend the intensity of your emotions, the fierceness of your love, or the readiness with which you forgive. These virtues require no justification, for they flow from a realm beyond logic, the same realm where I breathed existence into you, where unconditional love emerged, and where grace constantly awaits to heal all scars. I see how your gentle spirit continually seeks the good in others, even when they are undeserving, unprepared, or standing at the edge of your endurance. I know how you perceive potential in them, that optimistic lens the world has scorned. But always remember, my child, that I am the source of that vision, and I am also the one teaching you how to discern between someone's possibility and their current choices, between who they might become and who they decide to be. A tree does not stop bearing fruit from the absence of capacity, but from an unwillingness to root itself in truth. Similarly, love locked in pure potential ceases to be love. It becomes weary expectancy, holding on to fantasies, pouring into barren lands that will never yield harvest. Potential alone cannot bind up a shattered heart. Promises lacking action cannot provide support to a spirit gradually dissolving in solitude. Delay is not love, but a tricky strategy that keeps you circling the same place, keeping you nearby while never wholly embracing you with both hands. And every time you let go of your being in the hope of their change, you relinquish a segment of the identity I created with painstaking detail. Do not squander the light inside you trying to spark a flame in someone resolute in extinguishing it. My dear one, I will never fault you for loving, nor accuse you for being trusting or hopeful. Those traits make your heart more like mine, overflowing with patience and grace. Yet you need to realize that compassion does not condemn you to unending suffering, that pardon does not mean welcoming recurring hurt, and that optimism does not entail dismissing obvious damage. I called you to truly live, not to flounder in the exhaustion of a lopsided relationship. You were born for love, but never to be used. You exist to share light, not to burn out in others' careless grip. I am instructing you in safeguarding the sacred inside you, not through complete withdrawal, but through insight granted by the Spirit. Some souls require love from a distance. Some connections demand closure, not from a deficiency of caring, but because you have given and given, yet they maintain the choice not to love in return. You cannot cure someone by harming yourself. You cannot uphold a wholesome affection if you battle it alone. Think back, child. Recall those times you cried when your hopes collapsed. Those nights you prayed for me to remold a heart that refused to become something else. Days when your laughter disappeared just to keep someone at your side. You have surrendered far more than you ever should have. And I, the one who loves you with an unending devotion, cannot remain silent while you erode in a so-called love that never once showed its substance. It is time you grasp the truth that genuine love does not insist you relinquish your peace. The right companion will never make you perpetually question your value. Whatever emerges from me will never drain you with unending justifications, clarifications, or repairs. My love does not confine you but sets you free. It never dulls your sparkle but intensifies it. And if another does not know how to value the invaluable treasure inside you, they are the ones forfeiting something of great magnitude, not you. Proceed to love, but let it be with wisdom. Give without sacrificing your essence. Offer love without betraying what is right. If the time has come to release a person, know it is not a failure, but a commitment to remain true to yourself. And at that very moment, I will be at your side, holding you, strengthening you, and guiding your path to a future unmarked by trickery. No longer temporary, that no longer reliant on hypothetical love, but resting on the solid foundation of reality. Oh, my priceless child, open your heart and attend, not with mortal ears, but with that deepest place in you that has always quivered at the sound of my voice. I am aware there have been instances when you asked, Lord, do you really stand here with me? During hushed nights, devoid of comprehension from others, when your heart felt hollow among countless voices. But my child, I have never exited your life. I have never turned away from you. No interval in your life has occurred outside my presence. I am not some distant observer. I draw close, stooping to walk side by side with you. I do not wait for you to fortify yourself before I arrive. I am already here, even in your most shattered moments. I abide nearer than you imagine, closer than the breeze along your cheek as you stare, lost in thought by your window, nearer than the tear that remained in your eye instead of rolling down, closer even than the fleeting impressions that appear in your mind just before words form. I have been present in every trembling heartbeat, every unsteady footstep. Each second you felt emotions you could not name. Regardless of your silence or a noisy environment, I always hear, for my listening is attuned to love. Each incident in your story, whether vast or slight, never eluded my fingers. The random encounters, a hug from a passerby, a glance at first sight, and the farewells shed in tears, all wove. You offer me your aspirations, together with your trust, your pain, and your yearning for my guidance. I will handle the outcome, painting it in more wonderful colors than you ever predicted. A time will arrive when you realize profoundly that before your need existed, I knew it. Before a request took shape in your mind, I saw every layer of your journey. None of your petitions overwhelmed me, and none escaped my awareness. I am all-powerful but also full Father, near enough to sense your pulse, to catch the quiver in your faith, and to see the tears you hide. I am delighted by your voice, not for how you phrase your prayers, but because in a chaotic world, you made the choice to look toward me. I treasure every unfulfilled dream you bring, not for the sake of tracking them, but because I yearn to accompany you through them. And whenever you persist in trusting me, even amid lingering weight, even while events seem at a standstill, the heavens erupt in praise. Your faith does not merely stir my heart, it exalts my name, and I shall never forsake a faith-filled soul. My child, I am aware your longings extend far past material goods. You yearn to be seen, cherished absolutely, accepted without condition. I alone can fully satisfy that. Though others may give fleeting solace, I alone am the endless spring that never dries up. Make me your first refuge, not out of panic, but assurance. Not in desperation, but in the knowledge that I will never disappoint. I cherish when you draw close without demands, just to linger, simply to seek my nearness more than my answers. Nonetheless, I also never turn you away for bringing your needs, however great. Because with me, no concern is too trivial, nor any difficulty too massive. Come day after day, hour by hour, whether your faith is fresh or weighed with doubt, whether your petitions are new or old, or if you are still discovering the courage to believe. I do more than hear. I respond, I support, and I love you beyond what your words could ever express. And remember, my child, when you confidently bring your needs before me, you invite into your heart a treasure far surpassing your request, myself. The most significant gift is not meeting your pleas, but the intimacy forged between us, the closeness with the one who reigns over everything, who is aware of all, and cherishes you more deeply than you cherish yourself. I do not just want to meet your needs. I want to impart my presence, ensuring you gain, in addition to solutions, an unfailing, everlasting, and fatherly affection. If you can accept this with even the slightest faith, like the size of a mustard seed, I will enlarge that faith until it flourishes beyond any aspiration, for I am your Father, and you are my treasured child forever. If you are prepared to surrender your entire life to walk in my will and my love, if you pledge daily to raise me above all else, above momentary cravings, personal hopes, and even those matters you currently hold paramount, you will unlock a sanctified bond deeper than any worldly relationship. Your love for me must go beyond mere words. It must show in every choice, every thought, every discreet action of trust, even when no human eye is watching, even when no one can comprehend. As you choose to love me from the core of your spirit, even with a heart worn yet faithful, there in that devotion I will unveil myself more openly than ever. I am not looking for love that flares brilliantly just briefly, only to extinguish. I crave an enduring love, a love ready to be formed by the fire of renewal, presenting your life wholeheartedly, unconditional, limitless, and unconstrained by personal terms, binds you to an endless covenant I will never undermine. I promise not to leave your side, even at your weakest. I will stoop and carry you in my arms that last eternally. I will never abandon you partway. I do not tire of your slip-ups, and precisely in the broken, undeserving areas, my presence manifests its might, not to damn you, but to bring you back. Comprehend, child, my cleansing of your soul is not a fleeting moment that slips away. It marks the dawn of a lifelong voyage wherein you transform bit by bit, minute by minute. I did not wipe your slate clean only to let you stagger alone for the rest of your days. Absolutely not. I journey with you continuously, each mile, every season of adversity. During these trials, I am gently carving your spirit so my likeness can grow more tangible within you. You will endure times of heavy-heartedness, when memories surge like pounding waves, when old pitfalls knock at the door of your thoughts as though they never left. Some days you might doubt your transformation, but, beloved one, reject the whispers of doubt that may lead you astray. Realize that profound transformation is seldom an instant blaze. Usually it arrives in stillness, moments of sincere obedience amid testing, the resolve to continue moving forward despite the fatigue within. These fragile choices toward me, however small or hesitant, are forging in you new resilience. I know the adversary's voice will try to persuade you that you are insufficiently good, that you have collapsed once too often, that you are unfit for my mercy. But, child, that is why I poured out my grace, a power that not only forgives but reshapes. This grace is no free pass for weakness, but strength to prevail. It envelops you whether you stand tall or stumble, so long as you repent genuinely and seek me anew. I keep my arms perpetually open. My love for you does not rise or fall with your moods, does not wane with your slips, and never vanishes in your frailty. It is eternal, solid as a mountain, deeper than any canyon, sturdier than any gale you have battled. I recall each tear that has fallen. Every time you press onward, in spite of pain, I esteem it. Nothing done for me ever vanishes. I collect each effort to weave a spiritual artwork far beyond your imagination. As you traverse this path, whether your pace is slow or you sometimes falter, cling to the assurance that you never traverse it alone. My nearness will be your shade in deserts, your lamp in the night, your flames warming you in the coldest spiritual winters. I do not vow to clear all hurdles, but I pledge you will never meet them without me. I am your steadfast ally, your father, protector, guide, and source of refreshing life. Thus, step forward, not with your own might, but secure in the fact that I walk before you. Trust that when you are most feeble, my sovereignty appears in its highest glory. And when you devote your heart to me, not with unstable emotions but everlasting commitment, you craft a legacy honoring my name. You are not assigned to merely endure. You are meant for a triumphant life, not an existence devoid of burdens, but one that hardship cannot annihilate. A life that may seem imperfect to human vantage but is infinitely treasured in mine. Each day you decide to pursue me, each moment you love me above all, each second you stand resolute in grace. I document it. I engrave your name into my eternal blueprint, where none other can occupy your place. My beloved child, grasp this. Prior to your realization of what unfolds, the adversary has already been unsettled by what I've appointed for you. It does not quake at your scars, flaws, or stumbles. It trembles at the brilliance I've rooted in you, a flame beyond its reach. a calling it cannot sabotage, a blessing it can never seize if you keep clinging to me. The enemy observes the spiritual significance you will hold as you devote yourself wholly to my direction. Hence it strives to instill self-doubt, to question my pardon, to deny the idea that I could make use of one so broken for remarkable achievements. But my precious child, the enemy's miscalculation lies in assuming I chose you for your supposed flawlessness. No, I selected you due to your willingness to surrender. I chose you because you arrived at my throne empty, carrying only remorse and a wounded, genuine heart. Your stillness was mistaken for hopelessness, never sensing that in those hushed nights, when you looked heavenward in isolation, your spirit was steadily infused with my strength. Your forbearance was seen as vulnerability, oblivious that your every hidden tear resounded in heaven as a mighty plea. Your humility moved me deeply, and it was precisely in that yielding that the gates of my grace poured out like a river that never ceases. I have granted you absolution, not because you merited it, but because my love dwarfs anything you have done. And when I grant forgiveness, I do not merely efface your sin, I reshape your identity. I no longer identify you by your failure, but see in you the mark of eternity, set apart, consecrated, and propelled by my Spirit. When I hoist you up, no adversary can bring you down. When I decree favor over you, no human voice can negate it or hinder it. Regardless of others' judgments, independent of changing factors, cling to this reality. My word prevails. That word is simply this: you are mine, you are chosen, you are cherished. Daily, I escort you not as a remote sovereign, but as a loving father who clasps your hand at every stride. If you are worn, I become your support. When you are perplexed, I shine clarity. Where you are hurt, I flow as the balm that eases your wounds. I will not desert you. I do not grow weary of you. I shall never halt investing in you, for I observe in you potentials you have yet to see. I see a fighter emerging, one who does not need applause to feel affirmed, who does not require ovations to know love, who recognizes that authentic triumph springs not from the public's excitement, but from consistency in private, day after day, even minus an audience. You might ask, how shall I triumph given my weaknesses? My answer, it is exactly through your frailty that my power can soar within you. True strength is not earned by spiritual display or human attempts. It is given through yielding. Each time you opt to lean on me over your own merits, a fresh shift occurs in the realm of the unseen. You need not be indestructible. You only need to be steadfast. It is not your might that will uphold you, it is mine, and that, beloved, suffices. Naturally, you will stumble at points, not because you lack a calling, but because you are being molded. Let these slips not erode your certainty that I have indeed chosen you. Wounds teach you empathy. Bewilderment trains you to hear my voice. And every instance you pick yourself up on trembling knees and a wary heart, you come closer to becoming unstoppable. Nobody can conquer you while you walk with me. Nobody can disgrace you after I have crowned you in honor. No force can hinder you when I have already cleared your path. You do not need to validate anything to the masses. Simply live out what I have declared over you. Disregard how others might label you. Do not forget the unending truths I have set forth. The plan I have laid for you is not solely for you to scrape by, but to thrive. Not to be ever on guard, but to serve as a refuge for others. Not so you remain stuck in indecision, but so you stand on the unshakable foundation of my word. So, my beloved, do not retreat. Do not let past bruises dim the fresh light starting to shine through. Do not let words born of bitterness draw you away from my tender yet all-powerful voice. You are not discarded. You are being prepared, even if onlookers cannot decipher it. You are not invisible. You are safely held, awaiting the moment I exalt you. You are no stranger. You have been woven intricately into my grand story. Within the story, nothing can undo what I have pronounced. My verdict is this: you will move ahead in love, established, rescued, and consecrated to cast light into the gloom. Not as one faultless, but one who dares to lean on me. Not as someone mighty, but one who understands your dependence on me. And that humility is the key to victory. Hence, child, lift your truthful prayer toward me. For instance, Lord, mend the areas of my soul grown weary from postponements and broken hopes. At one time, I believed that love alone could alter someone's heart. Yet I have learned that not all love originates from you. Now I do not ask for them to return. I ask for liberation from the veiled ropes that have confined me for so long. Show me the way to love without exploitation, to give without losing myself, and to press onward without forfeiting my own identity. God, I know you have not called me to linger in suffocating relationships. I was never created to receive damaging love, nor was I appointed to live in fear and muteness. Break any spiritual chains causing me to doubt my worth. Tear down each falsehood sown by the enemy, that I am too intense, too feeble, or somehow lacking. You proclaimed I am beloved. Let that truth roar louder than every other claim. Holy Spirit, the one revealing hidden truths, grant me heavenly insight, so I will not surrender my heart to those who cannot safeguard it. Give me a clear-eyed view of genuine love versus cunning possession. Let my spirit tremble in forewarning when I am about to enter a realm you never granted me. Encircle me with fiery protection, shielding my heart from hands unworthy to hold it. God, I want to rediscover love, not driven by the anxiety of isolation, but guided by the clarity you are establishing in my deepest soul. I have no desire to remain where my spirit is undervalued. Right now, I choose to depart, not because love has disappeared from me, but because I must be true to the revelation you are granting me. Heal my depleted parts, fill the vacated spots, and revitalize me so that I don't just subsist, but truly prosper in authentic love. God, you understand me better than anyone willing to listen. No further justification is needed. No more proving my merit, no more pleading to be noticed, because your eyes already see my quiet acts of sincerity. Arise as my defender in places where I am voiceless, and impart to me such rest that I no longer require a facade to conceal my tears, but can stand transparent, protected by you. God, you told me I am not meant to live in someone else's shadow. You never ordained me as anyone's transient haven or a ceaseless source to be drained. Please restore my self-perception through your lens. Rid me of the echoes of disrespect, of belittling stares, of hurtful deeds that shook my sense of value. I refuse to keep trading my wholeness simply to persist in a relationship never birthed in your spirit. My child, if these words reached you, it's because I wanted them to. Not just to soothe you, but to stir something alive in you again. You didn't find this video by accident. I've been guiding you here, to this moment, to this truth, to this confirmation. But this is only the beginning. There's more I want to say, more I want to reveal, more healing, more clarity, more awakening, layer by layer. So come back. Return here, not for entertainment, but for encounter. Not for noise, but for nourishment. Let this space be your refuge, a sacred echo of my voice on earth. Subscribe, not just to follow, but to stay aligned with what I'm unfolding. Comment, not to be seen, but to declare what's shifting in your soul. Share this, not to go viral, but to reach another heart that's silently breaking. You are not alone, and every time you return, you'll find I am still here, waiting, speaking, loving. This channel is not built on content, it's built on calling, yours. So keep watching, keep listening, because I'm not done speaking. Amen.